I used to think my Grandma Aurora was an open book, her life laid bare for all to see, with her blue eyes like a summer sky and a laugh that danced through the air like a gentle breeze. She had a way of making everyone feel safe. I could sit for hours, nestled in the warmth of her embrace, listening to her stories, each one a thread woven into the fabric of our family's history. She would share tales of love and loss, of laughter echoing through the years, and of quiet moments that held the weight of the world. But there was always a glimmer of something deeper in her gaze, a flicker of mystery that hinted at hidden chapters, secrets, resting gently beneath the surface. It wasn't until after she passed that I began to realize just how much I didn't know about her. The day I discovered her hidden diary changed everything. It started as a rainy afternoon, the kind that wrapped around you like a soft blanket, urging you to curl up and reflect. I found myself wandering through the attic, a place I hadn't ventured in years. Dust motes danced in the shafts of light that peeked through the narrow window, and the air was thick with the scent of aged wood and forgotten memories. I was rummaging through old boxes, each one a treasure chest of family relics, when my fingers brushed against something unexpected. An intricately carved wooden box, its surface smooth yet weathered by time. As I lifted the lid, a wave of nostalgia washed over me. Inside lay a small, leather-bound diary, its cover cracked and faded, the spine slightly worn as if it had been held close for many years. The scent that wafted up was a heady mix of aged paper and something indefinably sweet, reminiscent of lavender fields that I knew Grandma loved. It felt like holding a piece of her very essence, and my heart raced with anticipation. I could hardly bear to breathe as I opened the diary, the pages whispering softly as they unfurled. Each page was filled with delicate looping script, the ink a deep sepia tone that had faded over the years but still held a certain elegance. As I began to read, the world around me faded, and I was transported to a time long before my own. The words spoke of a life filled with passion and heartache, of a forbidden love that bloomed like wildflowers in the cracks of the stone wall. I learned of the sacrifices made during a time of war, of choices that echoed through generations, shaping the very fabric of our family. I was struck by the realization that my grandma, with her warm smile and gentle hands, had lived a life far more complex than I could have ever imagined. Every secret unveiled felt like a weight lifting, revealing a legacy that connected me to her in ways I had never understood. I could almost hear her voice, soft and reassuring, guiding me through the pages, as if she wanted me to uncover these hidden truths. My heart swelled with a mixture of awe and sorrow, knowing that the woman who had comforted me through every storm had also weathered her own. As I turned the pages, I was filled with a sense of reverent anticipation. The diary promised to unveil stories of resilience, of love that transcended time, and of a spirit that refused to be extinguished. It felt like an invitation, a gentle call to embrace the complexities of our family's past, to honor the sacrifices that have been made, and to carry forward the lessons learned. If you'd like to walk this path with me, to discover the echoes of love and legacy woven into the fabric of our family, I invite you to stay close. There is so much more to uncover, and together we will breathe life into these stories, honoring the memory of Grandma Aurora and the hidden truths that shaped us all. Willow Creek was a small, quiet town, cradled by rolling hills and adorned with fields that seemed to stretch into eternity. In those late 1930s days, the air was often filled with the sweet scent of wildflowers, mingling with the earthy aroma of freshly turned soil. The sun would rise lazily, casting a golden hue over the landscape, and life moved at a gentle pace, as if time itself had decided to linger and savor every moment. In the heart of this tranquil setting, young Aurora lived with her family on a modest farm that had been passed down through generations. Her parents, hardworking and loving, toiled from dawn until dusk, their hands weathered by the toil of the earth. Her father, with his strong back and calloused hands, would often whistle a tune while tending to the crops, a melody that danced through the fields and wrapped around the home like a warm embrace. Her mother, a nurturing spirit, filled their days with laughter and stories, her voice a soft balm that soothed the worries of the world. Aurora, with her untamed chestnut curls and wide, curious blue eyes, found herself enchanted by the world around her. She was a dreamer, often lost in her thoughts, her imagination soaring as high as her older brother Thomas. who aspired to touch the skies as a pilot. Thomas was her protector, guiding her through the adventures of childhood, whether they were building forts in the tall grass or stargazing under the vastness of the night sky. Every evening, they would lie on a blanket, a cool earth beneath them, counting stars and whispering dreams into the cool night air. "You know, one day I'll fly high above those clouds," Thomas would say, his voice filled with ambition and wonder. Aurora would gape at him, her heart swelling with pride and a tinge of jealousy. She admired his confidence, his unwavering belief that he could conquer the skies. But inside, a quiet restlessness brewed within her, a yearning for something beyond the quaint boundaries of Willow Creek. Her younger sister, Lily, was a poetic soul, often lost in her own world of words and whimsical thoughts. Aurora could often find her sitting beneath the old oak tree, scribing verses into a worn notebook, her brow furrowed in concentration. Lily's poetry spoke of faraway lands and adventures that stirred Aurora's heart, igniting a flicker of longing for the unknown. Family dinners were a cherished ritual. They would gather around the wooden table, the simple meals filled with love and laughter. They shared stories of their days, their voices mingling with the clinking of silverware and the comforting crackle of the fireplace. Aurora would listen intently, soaking in every word, feeling the warmth of their togetherness wrap around her like a favorite blanket. But as the days turned into years, a gentle awareness settled in Aurora's heart. Though she adored her family and cherished their life in Willow Creek, there was a world beyond the horizon that beckoned to her spirit. It was not a rebellion, but a whisper, a recognition that light held more than the field of corn and the familiar faces of her loved ones. In the quiet moments when twilight painted the sky in hues of lavender and gold, Aurora would often wander to the edge of the farm, her feet carrying her to the old fence that bordered the wildflower meadow. She would gaze into the distance, imagining the paths that lay beyond the hills, where stories awaited and adventures called her name. Every now and then, she would catch glimpses of travelers passing through Willow Creek, their laughter trailing behind them like the scent of blooming jasmine. They spoke of cities alive with lights, of mountains that touch the sky, and oceans that stretch endlessly. Aurora listened, her heart fluttering, a mixture of longing and fear swirling within her. Yet, within the safety of her family of embrace, she found solace. Her parents, with their steadfast love, grounded her, reminding her of the beauty in simplicity and the strength found in roots. Aurora often found herself lost in the rhythm of daily life, planting seeds in the spring, harvesting the fruits of their labor in the fall, and reveling in the changing seasons that painted their world anew. Each day, she would climb into her favorite tree, a sturdy old oak that stood proudly in their yard, and read her beloved books. The pages transported her to lands of enchantment, while the leaves whispered secrets of wind. She would close her eyes, imagining herself as a heroine in a tale of bravery and adventure, her heart racing at the thought of the extraordinary. As the sun set and the stars began to sprinkle the night sky, Aurora would return to the warmth of home, her heart full yet restless. She would snuggle close to her siblings, their laughter echoing in the cozy glow of the kitchen, where the aroma of freshly baked bread wrapped around them like a hug. Those moments filled her with joy, yet the quiet murmur of her dreams lingered like a soft song in the back of her mind. Time flowed gently in Willow Creek, but beneath the surface, changes were stirring. A world beyond the hills was awakening, and soon the innocence of Aurora's childhood would be challenged by the winds of fate. She could feel it, a subtle shift in the air, as if the universe was preparing her for a path she had yet to uncover. Yet for now, she reveled in the beauty of her family, the warmth of their love, and the simple pleasures of farm life. As Aurora lay in bed each night, the moonlight casting a silvery glow through her window, she would whisper her dreams and fears to the night, hoping they would carry her wishes to the stars. Little did she know that those very dreams would intertwine with the secrets of her family, leading her down a path that would forever alter the fabric of their lives. In the quiet of Willow Creek, Aurora's story was just beginning, a tender tale waiting to unfold amidst the challenges and discoveries that lay ahead. The air in Willow Creek began to change, as if the very fabric of time was being pulled taut. The familiar sounds of laughter and the gentle rustle of leaves now intertwined with the distant rumble of something far more ominous. The radio crackled with reports of faraway lands engulfed in turmoil, and the marketplace buzzed with hushed conversations, whispers of a world on the brink of conflict. It was strange how something so distant could seep into the cracks of their small town, turning the mundane into something fraught with unease. Aurora often stood by the window, her gaze drifting beyond the hills that cradled their farm. The sunsets that once painted the sky with hues of orange and pink now felt heavy with an impending storm. She could hear the quiet concern in her parents' voices, their discussions turning somber as they debated the implications of war. Her father's brow furrowed deeper, lines of worry etching themselves into his weathered skin, while her mother busied herself with chores, her hands trembling slightly as she folded linens. It was as if the very essence of their peaceful existence was under siege. Thomas, on the other hand, seemed invigorated by the news. He spoke of adventure and honor, his dreams of becoming a pilot morphing into visions of heroism. "Imagine, Aurora," he would say, eyes alight with excitement, "flying over the clouds, serving our country. There's a world out there waiting for us." But every time he spoke, Aurora felt the pang of fear in her heart. The thought of her brother, a boy with dreams as vast as the sky, being swallowed by the chaos of war was more than she could bear. As the days slipped by, letters began to arrive from distant relatives, filled with tales of hardship and sacrifice. Each envelope felt like a weight added to her chest, a reminder that safety was an illusion, and the world was changing in ways she couldn't comprehend. Aurora found herself questioning everything she once held dear: the safety, the family, the simplicity of life on the farm, and her dreams of exploration began to clash, creating a tumult within her that was both exhilarating and terrifying. One afternoon, while wandering through the fields that bordered their home, Aurora spotted a figure approaching. It was a young man in uniform, walking with a purpose that set him apart from the other boys in town. His posture was straighter, his eyes sharper, and there was a quiet intensity in the way he moved. As he drew near, Aurora felt the flutter of their chest, a mix of curiosity and intrigue. "Hello there," he called out, his voice smooth yet edged with something unspoken. "Hello," she replied, surprised at the steadiness of her own voice. The moment stretched, a fragile thread connecting them, as if the world around them faded. His name was Elias, and he spoke with a confidence that made her heart race. He shared stories of far-off places and the camaraderie of his fellow soldiers, tales that danced between humor and gravity. Yet amidst the laughter, Aurora sensed a shadow lurking in his words, a weight he carried that he didn't quite share. "What brings you to Willow Creek?" she asked, a hint of daring in her tone. "Just passing through," he said, but the flicker in his eyes suggested there was more. "I've been assigned to a nearby base, thought I'd take a look at the town." With each conversation, Aurora felt herself drawn deeper into his world. Her previous daydreams of distant lands now tinged with the reality of Elias's life. He spoke of the fear and uncertainty that loomed over their country, and she found herself captivated by his perspective. The innocence of her former dreams began to shift, replaced by a growing awareness of the complexities of the world. As the weeks passed, Aurora's feelings for Elias blossomed, intertwining with the uncertainty that hung over Willow Creek. She would watch him from the corner of her eye, the way his eyes lit up when he spoke about hope and change, yet clouded when he alluded to the horrors he had witnessed. It was as if he was a living paradox, the beacon of light against the encroaching darkness. One evening, under a sky freckled with stars, they shared a moment that felt suspended in time. Aurora dared to lean closer, wanting to bridge the gap between their worlds. "Do you ever wonder what lies beyond this?" she asked, her voice barely above a whisper. "What happens when this is all over?" Elias turned to her, his expression softening. "I think about it every day, but sometimes it's the uncertainty that makes us truly alive. We can't let fear decide our fate." In that moment, Aurora felt as if he could see her, truly see her. The restlessness that had been brewing inside her, the desire for something beyond the hills of Willow Creek. Yet, with every heartbeat, the reality of the situation pressed against her. This connection, as intoxicating as it was, had shadows that reached far beyond their fleeting moments together. As she lay in bed that night, the moonlight was spilling through her window, Aurora wrestled with her thoughts. The safety of her family, the dreams she had nurtured, and the burgeoning feelings for Elias collided in a storm of emotion. She could no longer ignore the changing tides, nor could she turn back from the path of awareness that had opened before her. Each passing day felt like a step further into a world she couldn't yet understand, a world where love and sacrifice danced dangerously close. The next morning, the radio announced troubling news, the echoes of war creeping even closer. As she listened, Aurora felt a sense of dread wrapping around her heart. The laughter of the past now seemed like a distant echo, swallowed by the weight of what was to come. She closed her eyes, envisioning the hills beyond, and for the first time, she felt they were both a comfort and a cage. Elias, she thought, you have brought light to my shadowed thoughts, but this path we walk is fraught with peril. What will become of us in this unfolding story of our lives? The answer hung in the air, heavy and unspoken, as the world outside continued to shift beneath the weight of uncertainty. In the quiet moments before dawn, when the world outside still lay shrouded in shadows, I would often find myself by the window, gazing at the distant hills that framed our quaint farm in Willow Creek. It was during one of those early hours that I first met Elias in secret, the air thick with unspoken words and the scent of impending rain. He arrived like a whisper, soft and cautious, yet there was a warmth in his presence that melted the chill of uncertainty in my heart. As we exchanged shy smiles, the gravity of our surroundings faded momentarily, leaving only the flicker of something beautiful and fragile between us. Elias had a way of drawing me in, his deep-set eyes holding stories of courage and fear that mirrored my own. He would often speak of the skies, his dreams of flying, and the world beyond our small town. But there was a shadow that lingered in his gaze, a weight he carried that I sensed before he even spoke of it. One evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in hues of orange and purple, he finally shared the truth that had haunted him. Elias was not just a soldier. He was a German scientist who had turned deserter, fleeing from the very forces that sought to control the fate of nations. His mission, he revealed, was to locate a powerful encryption device, an artifact that held the potential to change the course of the war if it fell into the wrong hands. As he spoke, my heart raced, not just from fear, but from the realization of the stakes at play. I could see the tension in his body, the way his hands trembled slightly as he confessed the dangers that lay ahead. I cannot let it fall into the grasp of the Nazis, Aurora, he said, desperation lacing his voice. If I can secure it before they do, perhaps I can help save lives. In that moment, I understood that our lives were entwined in a greater story, one that spanned beyond our love and into the very fabric of our world. But the danger was no longer a distant threat. It was creeping closer, like the shadow of a storm. With each passing day, I noticed the subtle signs of trouble in Willow Creek. The once friendly faces of neighbors turned wary. Whispers of Nazi agents disguised as civilians echoed through the streets, and the atmosphere thickened with suspicion. I felt a growing sense of dread as I caught glances exchanged between strangers, the kind that hinted at secrets and betrayals. Elias and I would meet under the cover of night, our conversations becoming more urgent, more filled with fear and hope. The tenderness of our connection blossomed amidst the chaos, yet it was tinged with the knowledge that each moment together could be our last. One night, as we sat beneath the old oak tree, I could sense the weight of his burden pressing down on him. I need your help, Elias said, his voice barely above a whisper. My late mentor, a clockmaker, left clues that could lead us to the artifact. I cannot decipher them alone. My heart raced at the prospect of becoming part of his dangerous mission, yet I felt an undeniable pull toward him, a need to stand by his side, to face whatever lay ahead together. With trembling hands, I took his, feeling the warmth of his skin against mine. I'll help you, Elias, I promised, my voice steady despite the turmoil inside me. But what if it jeopardizes my family? What if we are discovered? The conflict within me swelled, torn between the love I felt and the need to protect those I held dear. Yet, as I looked into Elias's eyes, I saw a reflection of my own fears and desires, and I knew that I could not turn away from this path. As we pored over the clues, the labyrinth beneath the old church began to take shape in my mind. The clockmaker had hidden the artifact long ago, a secret very deep within the walls of our town. I could almost hear the ticking of time, each beat resonating with the urgency of our mission. My diary became my confidant during those restless nights, a place where I poured my fears, my hopes, and my devotion to Elias. I wrote of our stolen moments together, the way his laughter danced in the air like a melody, and how each kiss ignited a fire within me that I never knew existed. But as we prepared to embark on this journey, the external threat loomed larger. One evening, as I returned home from our clandestine meeting, I noticed a figure lingering near our barn, a silhouette cloaked in darkness. My heart pounded as I quickened my pace, a sense of dread coiling in my stomach. I knew then that the watchful eyes of danger were closer than ever, and the safety of my family was now intertwined with the choices I had made. Days turned into a blur of whispered plans and stolen glances, and I felt the ground beneath me shifting. The decision to help Elias was no longer just about the artifact. It was about embracing a new identity, a new purpose. I would no longer be a mere observer of my life, but an active participant in a story larger than myself. The courage I had long admired in others began to stir within me, igniting a flame that refused to be extinguished. In the quiet moments, I would close my eyes and picture the labyrinth beneath the church, the passageways filled with secrets waiting to be uncovered. I felt a sense of urgency, not just for the mission at hand, but for the love that had blossomed between Elias and me. It was a love that demanded sacrifice and strength, yet also promised a connection that transcended the chaos of the world around us. As we descended into the depths of the labyrinth, hand in hand, I could feel the weight of our choices bearing down on us. Each step echoed with the knowledge that we were no longer simply navigating the shadows of war. We were forging a path of our own, bound by love and defiance. And in that moment, amidst the uncertainty and fear, I realized that our journey was not just about survival. It was about embracing the light in the darkness and discovering the true power of love in the face of adversity. The air in the hidden chamber beneath the old church was thick with tension, palpable as the shadows danced around us. The stones were damp and cool against my fingertips, their surfaces whispering the secrets of time. As our lantern flickered, I caught a glimpse of the intricate mechanisms that Elias's mentor had left behind, a testament to his brilliance. Each coded lock and mechanical track was a puzzle waiting to be solved, a challenge we were prepared to face together. My heart raced, not just from the thrill of discovery, but from the weight of what lay ahead. "Here, Aurora," Elias said, his voice low and steady, as he pointed to a weathered alcove. "This should be it." With bated breath, we approached the alcove, and there it was, the artifact, gleaming faintly in the dim light. It was more beautiful than I had imagined, a delicate device, almost alive with the promise it held. My heart swelled with hope for just a moment as I reached out to touch it. But that moment shattered as the echoes of booted footsteps approached, heavy and foreboding. "We have to move," Elias urged, his eyes darting toward the entrance we had come through. The urgency in his voice snapped me back to reality, and I quickly pocketed the artifact. As we turned to flee, the sound of voices, harsh and commanding, filled the chamber. The Nazi agents had found us. Panic surged through me like a wildfire. "This way," I shouted, leading us deeper into the labyrinth. The walls felt like they were closing in, the shadows growing darker, more oppressive. Elias stayed close, his presence a comforting anchor amid the chaos. I could hear the muffled sounds of our pursuers drawing nearer, their threats echoing in the confined space. I relied on my instincts, recalling the twists and turns from our earlier explorations as we navigated the maze. "Quick, through here," I gasped, pulling him into a narrow passage that led to an old storage room. The air was stale, filled with the scent of dust and decay. We pressed our backs against the wall, our breaths shaky and loud in the silence. "Can you hear them?" Elias whispered, his eyes wide with unspoken fear. I nodded, straining to listen. The heavy footsteps were almost upon us. Suddenly, a loud crash echoed through the chamber, and the way we had come barreled down, agents flooding in like a dark tide. "Go!" Elias shouted, pushing me toward a side exit. "I'll hold him off." "No, I won't leave you." My voice cracked as I clutched his arm, desperation clawing at my throat. "Please, Aurora," he pleaded, his expression fierce yet tender. "You must save the artifact. It's our only chance to stop them." Tears brimmed in my eyes, but I could see the resolve in his face, the mix of determination and something deeper, something that felt like love. "I can't do this without you," I cried, the weight of our situation pressing heavily on my heart. "Trust me," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "You have to go. You're stronger than you know. Don't let it end here." And in that moment, as our eyes locked, I understood the depth of his sacrifice. He would stay behind, a shield against the darkness that threatened to engulf us. I felt the pull of destiny, the bittersweet taste of courage mingling with grief. With a final glance, turned and fled, my heart breaking for the man who would become my world. The labyrinth twisted and turned, and I ran, every footfall a reminder of what I was leaving behind. I could hear the shouts of the agents behind me, the chaos of their pursuit filling the air. As I emerged into the cool night air, I stumbled, my chest heaving with a mixture of fear and loss. I clutched the artifact tightly, its weight grounding me in the midst of my turmoil. My heart raced, not just from the escape, but from the knowledge that I had left Elias to face an uncertain fate alone. I couldn't breathe as grief washed over me like a cold wave. I wanted to scream, to turn back, but I knew I had to keep moving. The night sky stretched above me, vast and indifferent, yet I felt so small and alone. I pressed my hand against my chest, where a piece of him still resided. His courage, his hope, and his love. The journey home felt like a blur, each step heavier than the last. I was a vessel of sorrow, carrying not just the artifact, but the legacy of a love that had bloomed amid the chaos. My thoughts turned to Elias, and I felt the weight of my grief settle deep within me, a heavy shroud I knew I would carry for the rest of my life. In the days that followed, I poured my heart into my diary, the pages filling with memories of laughter and whispered secrets, of dreams shared beneath the stars. With each stroke of the pen, I etched his spirit into my words, searching for meaning amid the heartbreak. The diary became my anchor, a place where I could unravel the threads of my sorrow and weave them into something beautiful. I understood now that love was not just a fleeting moment. It was a legacy, forged in the fires of sacrifice. Elias's bravery had ignited a fierce purpose within me, a commitment to honor his memory and to protect what we had fought for. I would carry the weight of the artifact and the truth of our love, letting it guide me through the darkness. And as I wrote, I began to see the path ahead, one illuminated by hope and resilience. With every word, I transformed my grief into strength, vowing to keep Elias's spirit alive within me. The pain would never fully fade, but it would shape me, just as the echoes of that dark chamber and the shadows of our cast would continue to echo in my life. I was no longer just Aurora. I was a guardian of love and sacrifice, a woman forged by the fires of war, and I would carry forward the legacy we had created together, even in the face of unimaginable loss. The moment I emerged from the labyrinth, the weight of the darkness clung to me like a shroud. My breath came in ragged gasps, the cold air biting at my lungs as I stumbled out into the night. Each step felt like a betrayal of the silence that had enveloped me. The stone beneath my shoes scraping harshly, a reminder of the urgency I had fled. The world around me seemed to pulsate with an eerie stillness, as if it too was holding its breath, waiting for something that would never come. I arrived home, bruised and changed, the moonlight illuminating the path I had taken countless times before. But tonight, everything felt different. The walls of our home, once a sanctuary, now loomed like sentinels, indifferent to my sorrow. The shadows danced along the edges of my vision, whispering secrets I dared not confront. I moved through the rooms in a daze, each corner echoing with memories of laughter and love that felt like a cruel joke now. Elias was gone, and with him, a part of my soul. In the quiet hours of the night, I found myself avoiding mirrors, terrified to confront the reflection of a woman who had lost her heart. The sound of my name, Aurora, made me flinch, as if it were a foreign word meant for someone else, someone still whole. I sought refuge in the one place where I could unleash my grief without fear of judgment, my diary. To spill my pain onto those pages became both a solace and a torment. The ink bled not with poetic clarity, but with jagged lines that mirrored the jaggedness of my heart. Each word was a testament to the unbearable weight of loss, a scream muffled by the walls of my own making. Outside, life continued, blissfully unaware of my anguish. The official story is simple. Elias had died in an accident, a tragic mishap, they said, and while I nodded along, my heart screamed for the truth, for the tangled web of sacrifice and danger that had led to his death. My family saw my sorrow, but they could not fathom its depth. I wore my grief like a mask, a fragile facade that cracked under the weight of unspoken words. I felt the unbearable disconnection between what I was allowed to show and what I was truly feeling. The artifact I had taken from the labyrinth felt heavy in my pocket, a constant reminder of the secrets I now carried, a burden that pressed upon my chest like a stone. I began to see the world differently. Shadows took on new meanings, and trust felt like a luxury I could no longer afford. I walked through the streets of Willow Creek, my eyes darting to corners, to faces that seemed to harbor hidden agendas. Each whisper in the wind carried a warning, each stranger a potential enemy. Yet amid the suffocating grief, a flicker of resolve began to stir within me. It was not a desire for revenge. Rather, it was the yearning for purpose. I stumbled upon Elias's notes, hidden among the belongings he had left behind. There were coded entries in my diary that he had written for me, little fragments of his thoughts that now felt like breadcrumbs leading me out of the darkness. This spark, small and flickering, ignited a fire within me. I was not merely a widow drowning in sorrow. I was the keeper of his legacy. With each passing day, I ventured deeper into his world. I found myself at the local library, a dusty haven filled with the scent of old pages, the whispers of history echoing in the silence. I explored every forgotten corner, searching for clues that could piece together the puzzle Elias had left behind. I slipped into his old room, the air thick with the ghosts of our shared memories. Maps and notes lay strewn across the desk, remnants of his relentless pursuit of truth. I traced the lines of his handwriting, feeling an intimate connection to the man I had loved, now lost to me. As I delved into his work, the grief began to shift. It was still there, a heavy cloak draped across my shoulders, but intertwined with it was a sense of purpose. I was no longer adrift in the sea of sorrow. I was becoming anchored by the weight of his memory. Each piece of information I uncovered felt like a step toward being reclaiming a part of him, a way to honor the sacrifice he had made. I could feel the world turning around me, unaware of the storm brewing within my heart. I was no longer just Aurora, the grieving lover, but Aurora, the protector of a legacy that deserved to be preserved. The silence of my loss was still profound, but now it was accompanied by the quiet determination to uncover the truth. I would carry his memory with me, not as a burden, but as a guiding light through the darkness, illuminating the path ahead. In the solitude of my grief, a new strength began to take shape. It was not loud or defiant. It was a gentle resolve, a whisper of intention that promised to guide me through the shadows. I would honor Elias not just with tears, but with action. I was ready to face the echoes of the past, to unearth the secrets that had kept us apart. The journey ahead would be fraught with peril, but I would walk it with his spirit beside me, determined to forge a new path in his memory. Leaving Willow Creek felt like pulling away from a part of myself, as if I was severing the last threads that connected me to the life I once knew. The quaint streets, where laughter echoed in the summer air, now felt like a heavy shroud of memories I could no longer bear. I packed only what I needed: some clothes, a few cherished photographs, and the diary of Elias, my guiding light in this darkened world. With each step away from my hometown, I felt the weight of grief transform into a steely resolve. The city I entered was sprawling and unfamiliar, a stark contrast to the comforting embrace of Willow Creek. Tall buildings loomed overhead, their windows reflecting a life that bustled with activity. Yet beneath the surface, I felt an isolation more profound than I had ever known. In this anonymity, I sought refuge, a place where I could begin to unravel the secrets that Elias had left behind. I rented a modest apartment, the kind that overlooked an alley rather than a bustling street, providing me with a sense of safety as I began my relentless pursuit of knowledge. Days turned into weeks as I immersed myself in the depths of libraries and archives, the scent of old paper and leather binding filling my senses. Elias's diary, with its carefully penned notes and sketches, became my constant companion. Each entry I read was a piece of his soul, a whisper of the man he had been and the legacy he had entrusted to me. I studied not just the words, but the purpose behind them, slowly piecing together a puzzle that felt larger than myself. The artifact I discovered was not merely an encryption device as I had initially believed. It held immense power, a tool designed to decode enemy communications and anticipate their moves. Its true potential sent shivers down my spine, for I realized that if it fell into the wrong hands, it could spell disaster. I became a guardian of this secret, knowing that my every action could alter the course of history. As I honed my skills, I transformed into a self-taught spy. I learned to observe without being seen, to blend into the shadows of the city as I deciphered messages hidden in plain sight. I practiced in cafes, glancing over shoulders while feigning interest in mundane conversations. My heart raced as I decoded a scrap of paper, the ink smudged yet familiar. It spoke of troop movements, the kind of information that could shift the balance of power. The thrill of discovery filled me with a sense of purpose, a surge of adrenaline reminding me of my mission. Yet this life was not without its burdens. Loneliness clung to me like the chill of an autumn breeze, a constant reminder of what I had lost. Each night, as I stared at the stark walls of my apartment, the silence echoed with the absence of Elias's laughter. I often found myself tracing the edges of his photographs, whispering secrets into the stillness, as if he could somehow hear me. In those moments, the pain of my solitude felt unbearable, but beneath it lay an unwavering determination. I would honor his memory by protecting what he had sacrificed so much for. The threat from the Nazis loomed ever closer, a shadow that darkened my every step. I learned to recognize the signs of danger, suspicious figures lurking in the corners of my vision, the hushed conversations that would abruptly cease when I entered a room. One evening, as I navigated the crowded streets after a long day of research, I felt eyes on me. Glancing back, I caught a glimpse of a man, his gaze too intense, his posture too rigid. My heart raced as I ducked into a side alley, pressing myself against the cool brick wall, willing myself to remain unseen. The sound of footsteps echoed behind me, then I held my breath, willing the shadows to swallow me whole. When the danger passed, I emerged, shaken yet resolute. Every narrow escape served only to strengthen my resolve. I became adept at evading surveillance, learning the rhythms of the city and the patterns of those who sought to find me. I discovered how to gather information discreetly, my ears attuned to whispers of dissent and conspiracy. I would sit in public squares, listening intently as conversations drifted by, piecing together fragments of intelligence like a masterful tapestry of espionage. With each passing day, I felt myself growing stronger, more competent. I was no longer just a grieving woman, but a force to be reckoned with, a guardian of secrets, a protector of legacies. I knew that I walked a perilous path, one that could lead to danger at every turn, but the memory of Elias burned brightly within me, guiding me through the darkest nights. His love and sacrifice became the armor I wore against despair, fueling my journey forward. In this new life, I found a purpose that transcended my grief. It was not merely about survival. It was about embracing the power I had discovered within myself. I was no longer just a keeper of secrets. I was a player in a dangerous game, navigating the treacherous waters of war with the hope of changing its course. Each step I took was a tribute to Elias, a testament to the love that would forever guide me on this solitary journey. As the echoes of conflict began to fade, Aurora stood at the precipice of a new dawn, a dawn that heralded not only the end of war, but also the transformation of her very soul. The artifact, once a burden laden with the weight of secrets and sacrifice, had become a beacon of hope, illuminating the path to victory for the Allies. Aurora had learned to harness its power, transmitting vital intelligence that thwarted enemy plans and influenced strategic successes. With each piece of information she relayed, she felt the pulse of the war shunt, the rhythm of lives hanging in the balance. In the quiet moments between her covert missions, Aurora often reflected on Elias, the love that had fueled her resolve. She could almost hear his laughter, a sweet melody that contrasted sharply with the chaos surrounding her. In her heart, she held onto the belief that every life saved was a tribute to his sacrifice. The tension of those days was palpable. Each whisper of danger sent shivers through her spine. Yet, within that tension lay an exhilarating sense of purpose. As the final battles raged on, the days felt longer, the nights heavier. Yet, as victory approached, a bittersweet relief washed over her. There was joy, yes, but also a profound exhaustion that seeped into her bones. When the news of the war's end finally reached her, it was as though the world had exhaled a breath held too long. The streets erupted in celebration, yet Aurora found herself standing still, a quiet observer amidst the jubilant chaos. She understood the magnitude of what had been lost and gained, the lives forever altered by the tides of war. In the aftermath, Aurora chose to return to a simpler life. Willow Creek, with its gentle embrace and familiar landscapes, called to her like an old friend. She sought not the grandeur of accolades, but rather the peace that came from tending to her community, a place where she could pour her heart into healing the wounds inflicted by war. With every cup of tea shared, every story exchanged, she found solace in the connections she forged. She became a guardian of memories, a custodian of the lessons learned through hardship. The artifact, once hidden away in shadows, found its place in a delicate music box, a cherished relic that held both love and loss. It played a soft, haunting melody that spoke of longing and hope. Whenever Aurora winded up, she felt Elias beside her, guiding her, reminding her of their shared dreams and the strength that came from their love. It became a symbol of resilience, a testament to their journey through darkness into light. Years flowed gently, like a river, and Aurora transformed into the warm, wise grandmother that the narrator would come to know. Her laughter danced through the roofs, and her stories, richly woven with the fabric of her extraordinary past, enfolded her family like a warm embrace. She exuded serenity, strength, and compassion, embodying the essence of a woman who had faced the tempest and emerged with grace. The narrations of her youth were filled with vivid imagery, recounting not just battles fought and victories won, but the human experiences that shaped her. Aurora spoke of the friendships forged in the shadows, of moments of tenderness amidst the chaos, and of the unbreakable bonds formed through shared sacrifice. With every tale, she illuminated the extraordinary depth of her seemingly simple life, revealing the courage that lay beneath the surface. As the narrator listened, a realization dawned, a deeper understanding of the woman before them. The diary had unveiled layers of Aurora's existence, each page a window into her heart, each word a testament to her tenacity. The quiet strength she exuded was not born of ease, but of trials endured and love cherished. In the twilight of her life, Aurora found purpose in nurturing the next generation, imparting wisdom gathered through tears and laughter. She championed education, encouraging young minds to dream beyond the horizon, to seek knowledge and compassion in a world that had once been fraught with division. The community flourished under her gentle guidance, a tapestry of healing woven through shared experiences. Aurora became a lighthouse for those lost in the storm, a figure of hope that illuminated paths once shrouded in darkness. Her home, filled with the laughter of children and the warmth of shared meals, became a sanctuary where stories of the past intertwined with dreams for the future. As the seasons changed, so did Aurora, her spirit ever vibrant. The music box remained a cherished centerpiece, a reminder of the love that had shaped her journey. She would often sit in her favorite chair, the sun casting a golden glow around her, and play the soft melody that echoed with the whispers of Elias. In those moments, she understood that though the war had ended, the legacy of love and sacrifice would endure. The artifact was not merely a tool of war. It was a bridge connecting past to present, a symbol of a life well lived. And so, Aurora embraced her role, not just as a grandmother, but as a storyteller, a healer, and a guardian of a legacy that would continue to inspire those who came after her. The lessons of love, resilience, and compassion she imparted would resonate through generations, a gentle reminder that even in the face of adversity, hope could flourish. With each story shared, each lesson taught, Aurora transformed the echoes of her past into a symphony of understanding and grace. As the narrator reflected on their grandmother's extraordinary journey, they felt a profound connection to the woman who had navigated the storms of life, emerging as a beacon of wisdom and peace, a testament to the enduring power of love and a courage to forge a new path even in the aftermath of turmoil. As I sat in the quiet corner of my home, the soft light of late afternoon spilling through the window, I found myself once again drawn to Grandma Aurora's hidden diary. Its pages, worn and faded, carried the weight of her life in every word. And each time I opened it, I felt as though I were stepping into the very essence of her soul. This time, however, I approached it with a deeper understanding, having come to realize that this diary was not merely a collection of memories, but a compass guiding me through the intricate landscape of her heart. This story she told, once simple tales of adventure and whimsy, now revealed themselves as powerful metaphors of her extraordinary courage. Each fairy tale that had enchanted my childhood took on new significance, echoing the struggles she faced and the resilience she embodied. The vivid imagery of brave heroes and clever heroines transformed into reflections of her own journey, illuminating the shadows of sacrifice and strength that defined her life. I could almost hear her voice, rich and warm, weaving through the narratives, infusing them with the wisdom she had acquired through years of hardship and hope. As I turned each page, I felt a profound connection to her struggles, recognizing the threads of her experience woven into the fabric of my own life. The challenges I faced, the fears that haunted me, seemed less daunting in the light of her unwavering spirit. Aurora's quiet strength became a beacon, illuminating the path forward, encouraging me to face my own battles with the same tenacity she had shown. I began to appreciate how the stories of my childhood, filled with wonder and magic, were not just for entertainment. They were lessons in resilience, love, and the indomitable human spirit. In those moments of reflection, I understood that Aurora's true legacy extended far beyond the artifacts she left behind. It lay in the stories she shared, in the lessons she imparted through her gentle guidance, and in the love that flowed unconditionally from her heart. Each tale was a thread connecting generations, binding us together in an unspoken promise of hope and endurance. It was as if she had passed down not just her experiences, but a treasure trove of wisdom waiting to be unearthed by those willing to listen. The realization washed over me like a warm embrace, filling me with peace and clarity. I recognized the importance of honoring her memory, not just by cherishing her diary, but by embodying the lessons she taught me. I felt compelled to share her stories, to keep her spirit alive through my own actions and words. In doing so, I would not only pay tribute to her legacy, but also inspire others to uncover and celebrate their hidden narratives. With each turn of the page, I found solace in the knowledge that Aurora's journey had shaped me in ways I had yet to fully comprehend. Her experiences were not relics of a distant past, but living lessons that echoed through time, urging me to embrace my own journey with courage and grace. I felt a renewed purpose stirring within me, a desire to weave my own stories into the tapestry of our family's history, ensuring that the wisdom passed down through the generations would never fade away. As I closed the diary, I was filled with a sense of gratitude for the gift of Aurora's life and the insight she had provided into my own. I recognized that each of us carries a story worth telling, a legacy waiting to be shared. The act of uncovering and honoring our hidden stories is not just a personal journey. It is a universal call to connect, to understand, and to celebrate the rich experiences that shape us all. In that quiet moment, surrounded by the echoes of her laughter and the warmth of her love, I made a promise to myself. I would carry forward the spirit of Aurora, sharing her stories and my own, fostering resilience and hope in the hearts of those who would listen. I would remind my children and their children that our lives are not defined solely by the challenges we face, but by the love we share and the strength we cultivate within ourselves. As I looked out the window, the sun began to set, casting a golden glow over the world outside. I felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that Aurora's legacy would live on through me. Her hidden diary had become more than just a collection of memories. It was a guiding light, illuminating the path of love, courage, and wisdom that she had forged through a lifetime of experience. And as I embraced this newfound understanding, I carried her spirit with me, forever grateful for the gift of her story and the enduring connection it forged between us across time and space. In the quiet moments of reflection, we find the whispers of those who came before us. Aurora's life, a testament to courage, love, and resilience, stands as a beacon of hope. She faced adversities that would have daunted many, yet she rose, not just for herself, but for the memory of her grandmother and the soldier who chose a different path. Each sacrifice she made was woven with threads of love, creating a rich tapestry of stories that now live on in the hearts of her family. As the years flowed by, Aurora became a vessel of wisdom. Her tales, once dismissed as mere fables, revealed profound truths about the human spirit, the strength found in vulnerability, and the unwavering bonds of family. The hidden diary, a treasure trove of her experiences, transformed from a collection of memories into a guiding light for her granddaughter. In those pages, the lessons of resilience and hope were immortalized, urging the next generation to embrace their own trials with grace. If Aurora's story has resonated within you, it has fulfilled its purpose. Her journey is not just a narrative confined to the past. It breathes through the lives of those who listen, who share, and who embody her teachings. Each time a story is told, a part of her lives on, reminding us that we are never truly alone in our struggles. The courage to face challenges can ignite a spark of hope, one that can illuminate even the darkest of paths. So, I invite you to carry forth this legacy. If Aurora's story moved you, please share your appreciation with a like. Each like is a nod to the strength of her spirit and the love she imparted. Subscribe to our channel to hear more heartfelt tales that echo the experiences we all share, stories that unite us in our humanity. And I encourage you to share your thoughts below. What did Aurora's journey mean to you? How can her wisdom inspire your own life? As we reflect on the lessons of the past, let us ponder this. What secret do you believe Grandma Aurora held closest to her heart? In her stories, perhaps, lies the key to understanding the depths of her courage and the love that propelled her forward. Let's open up a dialogue, sharing not just our thoughts, but our own experiences and the stories we carry within us. Aurora's tale is a reminder that every life is a story worth telling, every struggle a lesson worth sharing. The legacy of love and resilience she leaves behind is a gift that invites us all to find strength in vulnerability, to embrace our stories, and to honor those who have shaped our paths. As you go forth, may you find inspiration in her journey, courage in your own, and the wisdom to continue sharing your stories with the world.